In recent years, more and more young Chinese have been lured by the promise of high-paying jobs, only to end up trapped in scam compounds in northern Myanmar. About 60% of them are between 20 and 30 years old, and men make up nearly 95% of the victims. Many disappearances occur at Chinese border crossings in Yunnan and Guangxi provinces, as well as in Bangkok, Thailand. These victims are often taken to locations in northern and eastern Myanmar, including Shan State, the heart of the infamous Golden Triangle. This region, where Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand meet, was once the world's largest opium growing and heroin-producing hub from the 1950s through the 1970s. Back then, drug traffickers traded opium and heroin for gold, earning the area its notorious name. The primary lure for these young people is the promise of high-paying work, accounting for roughly 70% of the cases, and the scammers would advertise that flights and accommodations were included. These jobs include, but are not limited to, restaurant work, acting gigs, and delivery work. Another major lure is being promised huge commissions for applying for loans in their own name, but they first have to pass through Thailand to have their identities processed, all of which revolve around money. A smaller number fall victim due to online romances or travel opportunities. In February this year, a 19-year-old from Guangdong, Mr. Huang, was lured by his 17-year-old girlfriend, Ms. Zhou, who claimed her family were officials with investments in Myanmar. She promised a high-paying opportunity abroad and convinced him to fly with her to Bangkok. At the Thai-Myanmar border, armed men seized Huang's passport and phone and took him to a scam compound in Myanmar. Once there, his head was shaved and he was locked in a dark room, forced to work 16 to 20 hours a day running telecom scams. He had to repeatedly recite scripts about high-return investments in front of a screen. Failure to meet quotas resulted in beatings, leaving him with hearing damage. When he couldn't keep up, his family had to pay a ransom, 35,000 wen in total, to secure his release with the help of the Chaozhou Santou Business Association in mainland China. The Chaozhou Santou community has long-standing influence in Southeast Asia. Many prominent figures, including Hong Kong's longtime top billionaire Li Ka-shing, China's famously low-profile tech tycoon Pony Ma, Singapore's former Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, and former Asia's richest man, Tan Kah-kee, are all of Chao Zhou Shantu descent. In the region, people often turn to these networks for help before contacting the authorities. Interestingly, the lawyer defending Ms. Zhou cited Chinese law, which defines human trafficking as applying only to women and children, meaning that abducted men technically fall outside the law. Xu Bochun, who had worked for years as an extra in films, was tricked by a high-paying advertisement in Yunnan into going to Myanmar for 3 months. Yunnan borders Myanmar, and he saw many victims who looked barely adult or in their early 20s, as well as people around his age, 37. These included makeup artists, fitness influencers, and even mortuary makeup specialists. One ad, for example, claimed that a Yunnan employer's mother had passed away and offered 10,000 wen to help send her off. Another targeted chefs, promising 15,000 wen per month to cook for tourists in Thailand. But upon arrival, all their documents and phones were confiscated, and they were first beaten with sticks before being moved to other locations. Cash on their phones was seized and transferred to 2 places, a traditional exchange office, which could be accessed globally, and a cryptocurrency exchange, where it could be converted into other currencies. Each person's ID was used to take out loans, up to 3 attempts per person. Su witnessed a 42-year-old successfully get a 400,000 wen loan under his name. Then, the scammers used each person's WeChat to post high-paying job ads, attracting more victims. They could even change the IP location of the phones to anywhere in the world. Every day, sharply dressed agents would come to pick victims. They'd ask if the person could make phone calls or speak Mandarin. Nothing else mattered. Each victim was tagged, and if they weren't purchased by a scam company within 30 days, they were sent to a special vehicle bound for Mayawati, or international waters near Thailand, places allegedly used for organ trafficking. Xu was picked later than most. He was taken to a place called the Red Lotus Hotel. Yes, the name is in Chinese. The building had 7 floors, the first floor guarded by armed personnel, and floors 2 through 7 dedicated to different types of scams. Xu was assigned to a cryptocurrency team. Each person had 4 phones and 20 accounts. They would build fake romantic relationships, then lure victims onto international social apps. Using AI, They could swap faces and voices for 15 to 30 seconds and even translate messages into other languages like Malay, saying things like, "I miss you." The supervisor in charge of Su Bochen was only 18 years old. He smoked, drank, and beat people at will. To him, the scam compound was a paradise, no school and still making money, and he wasn't even the youngest supervisor in the compound. Next door, another team targeted mainland China, pushing stocks and various investments. They could even collect Chinese university students' loan information, including which school they attended and how much they'd borrowed. Zhu warned students, always repay loans through legitimate channels. Never trust links in texts or phone calls. Scammers could also access VIP dating site memberships. The higher the fee, the more detailed the information. Victims could be led to believe that someone who liked them could also help them make money. Starting from a few thousand yuan, they could spiral deeper. Xu said last year scammers took over 50 million yuan from just one VIP member. It wasn't all punishment in the compound. Those who performed well were richly rewarded. When a scam team hit a certain level of success, the whole organization would go wild, throwing cash everywhere. Xu Bochen personally saw a 16-year-old boy receive a full 1 million yuan in cash for outstanding performance. For most people, that's a sum they might never earn in a lifetime. But here, it was just the boy's earnings for a single month. That same day, he sent hundreds of thousands to his family, and the rest was squandered. Every 3 months, the company would eliminate some people, selling them to another company. If someone proved useless a third time, they were sent for organ trafficking. In August last year, they spent 1.3 million yuan to buy 9 so-called useless people from a camp. If they couldn't produce results in 3 months, the next stop was Mayawadi, or an international medical ship near Thailand. Xu said that the chance of returning was very low, as he saw so many people vanish right before his eyes. At 37, he began reflecting on his life and whether the path he'd taken was worth it. Eventually, his family paid nearly 100,000 yuan in ransom to get him back. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has long maintained ties with Myanmar. In 2013, Xi Jinping proposed the Belt and Road Initiative, and by 2015, specific projects began to take shape, including the China-Myanmar Economic Corridor, oil and gas pipelines, and railway construction. China Unicom, a state-owned telecom giant under direct CCP management, set up China Unicom Myanmar Operations Communes Limited in 2013. In 2020, China Unicom helped build the network infrastructure in Mayawadi, Myanmar, even coordinating with China Unicom Hong Kong Limited to evaluate and select data center facilities. Cambodian Chinese businessman Shi Zhijiang, also known as Shi Lunkai, or by the alias Tang Kriang Kai, was reportedly the mastermind behind the notorious KK scam compound in Myanmar. He once served as the executive vice chairman of the China Overseas Chinese Business Association and chairman of Yatai International Holdings Group, which operates cross-border online gambling, real estate development, sales, leasing, and spas across several Southeast Asian countries. Under the watch of the so-called Chinese military superpower, he brazenly kidnapped, scammed, extorted, and trafficked Chinese citizens and their organs, generating hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue. A criminal enterprise of this scale almost certainly had a well-known shadow behind it. From 2018 to 2019, CCP state media heavily promoted the KK compound in Mayawadi, celebrating it as a project that advanced China-Myanmar cooperation and created more opportunities. In August 2018, former Nobel Peace Prize laureate and Myanmar State Councilor Aung San Suu Kyi attended the groundbreaking ceremony, expressing her support and admiration for the project. In November 2020, the Chinese embassy in Myanmar held a promotional event for the Mayawadi compound, introducing its investment environment and development prospects. Many people trusted CCP media, went to Myanmar for travel or work, and ended up with life-altering experiences. At the Myanmar-China Business Summit and Myanmar project signing ceremony, Shi Zhijiang reportedly signed agreements with Myanmar's top warlord, Colonel Saw Chit Thu, representing the China Overseas Chinese Business Association. The association is a key CCP tool for liaising with overseas Chinese communities, encouraging support for CCP policies, and advancing global Chinese influence. Media reports showed that between January 2018 and February 2021, Shijijiang's networked gambling platforms attracted hundreds of thousands of Chinese gamblers, generating roughly 150 million yuan in profits. He was wanted by Chinese law enforcement, but on August 10, 2022, Thai authorities arrested him in Bangkok under an Interpol Red Notice. He said, "If I'm sent back to China, I would certainly be silenced," and has refused to cooperate with extradition requests remaining in Thai custody. A documentary by Al Jazeera, one of the most influential media outlets in the Arab world, revealed that in 2016, Xi Jinping was recruited by Chinese intelligence in the Philippines to carry out espionage activities, gaining access to many Belt and Road secrets and some matters connected to the highest levels of the CCP. After refusing a CCP order to develop a small town on the Thailand-Myanmar border, he was targeted for retaliation. "They wanted a colony, but I just wanted to do business," he said. After falling out with the CCP in 2022, they sent agents to Thailand to lure Xi Jinping and intended to eliminate him in prison. But he survived because he happened to meet with his lawyer. He also revealed that the female mayor running a Philippine cyber scam compound was an agent of Chinese intelligence. In October 2024, he was violently attacked by Thai officers and prisoners, leaving him unable to stand or walk, requiring a wheelchair. After being recruited as a spy by Chinese intelligence, his record was cleared. From 2017 to 2019, he freely entered China, becoming a so-called patriotic overseas Chinese, with intelligence support to participate in Belt and Road initiatives. In 2018, he even attended a state dinner in the Philippines, personally attended by Xi Jinping, recording video footage himself. Online rumors now claim that the masterminds behind these cyber scam compounds include Geng Ji Yuan, son of Geng Biao, a senior CCP official in the Ministry of Security and head of the China-Myanmar Friendship Association. Xi Jinping was reportedly promoted by Geng Biao. According to previous sources, Xi Jinping acted as an intermediary, facilitating projects between Chinese state-owned enterprises and Myanmar, making it hard to determine what role high-level CCP officials played in these operations. In November this year, someone posted on Google Maps that the KK compound showed a Chinese Southern Research Institute of Heilongjiang Province, although that name has since disappeared. Netizens summarized the Myanmar KK compound as follows: developed by China's heavy industry group, network infrastructure provided by China Unicom and other Chinese companies, power supplied by Chinese grid companies and generators, currency used RMB. While Chinese citizens face strict limits on transfers and withdrawals of a few thousand yuan, the scam organization can instantly move millions or even hundreds of millions overseas. Phones in the compound use Chinese SIM cards. All three major Chinese carriers are under real name registration, yet millions of SIMs have been successfully used abroad. Postal services are run through China Post. Compound leadership, Chinese. Victims, Chinese. Organ trafficking buyers and sellers, Chinese. It was a classic case of the CCP crying thief. KK is only one of at least 1,000 such compounds, according to CCTV. All compounds involve Chinese personnel and are protected by local armed groups. The masterminds behind them are Chinese. Some netizens reported that a friend escaped the compound and sought help from the Chinese embassy, only to be returned. His family had to raise over 400,000 yuan to secure their release. Earlier this year, the kidnapping of Chinese actor Wang Xing in northern Myanmar drew national attention. Wang said he was held with over 50 other Chinese victims. His girlfriend contacted Chinese officials, police, the embassy, and Thai police with no result. Online pleas triggered widespread attention, and after paying a 2 million yuan ransom, Wang was finally released. On January 30th of this year, Myanmar police handed over 6 key leaders and 4 major suspects of the Kokeng cyber scam group to China. However, reports of Chinese victims being lured to the Thai-Myanmar border continue to surface, and the crimes have not stopped. CCP authorities have also blocked trending topics related to families of trapped individuals. The exposure of these scam compounds has severely impacted Thailand's tourism industry. Chinese tourists have dramatically decreased, and scheduled performances by Chinese artists in Thailand have been cancelled. To repair its image, the Thai Prime Minister, claiming ancestry from Guangdong, China, said that Thai Land, Sea, and Air Force forces would fully cooperate to rescue compatriots if China requested it. Beyond a few news reports, however, the CCP has not taken large-scale military or diplomatic action to rescue kidnapped Chinese nationals. According to the Yangcheng Evening News, Thai authorities track roughly 70,000 Chinese being trafficked annually from Thailand to Myanmar, nearly 200 per day. Thailand remains both a major trafficking hub and a transit country. Chinese travelers remain wary of Thailand, prompting the Thai government to cut electricity and internet access along the Myanmar border. Meanwhile, rumors circulate of military helicopters delivering fuel to Mayawadi. Many people don't realize that when Myanmar gained independence in 1948, it was considered one of Southeast Asia's wealthiest and most promising countries, earning the nickname the Rice Bowl of Asia. The country produced jade, especially famous for its jade culture, as well as abundant tin, lead, zinc, natural gas, and oil. Its forests covered 42% of the land, the highest in Southeast Asia, and it produced valuable hardwoods like sandalwood and pearwood. Rivers crisscrossed the country, and hydropower accounted for 57% of electricity generation. With 820,000 square kilometers of inland freshwater lakes and rivers, Myanmar is rich in fish and shrimp. Compared to these resources, the UAE seems to have little besides oil. The Irrawaddy reported that Singapore's founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew once expressed hope that Singapore could catch up with Myanmar's economy within 20 years, but in hindsight, that now seems like a joke. By 1987, Myanmar had become one of the world's 10 poorest countries, with a per capita income of just $200. Today, the country is closely associated with scams, drug trafficking, human organ trade, and the CCP. So how did Myanmar squander such a promising start? After independence, the country was plagued by party conflicts and constant civil wars. In 1962, General Ne Win led a coup and sought to turn Myanmar into a Burmese-style socialist state, implementing reforms similar in some ways to early CCP policies, nationalizing domestic enterprises, closing off the country from the outside world, collectivizing rural land, and forming cooperatives. The government grew increasingly corrupt and even tolerated drug production and trafficking. Over-reliance on agriculture and natural resources left the economy narrowly structured with a weak manufacturing base and outdated technology. Infrastructure lagged far behind. Rural electricity was severely insufficient. Internet access was low, and healthcare facilities were scarce. Frequent political turmoil and military interference forced many schools to close. In just 30 years, Myanmar had deteriorated into the state it is in today. A Chinese observer warns fellow citizens, "It's easy to fight thieves in the mountains, but hard to fight thieves in your own heart. Don't be greedy, hold on to your money, and don't blindly trust anyone, especially not the CCP.